please help me welcome our Congressman of the 10th Congressional District, Paul Mitchell.
First, let's take a second and congratulate Dan and Kelly on a big decision. I'm happy for you. I'm looking forward to working with you to become a state senator here. We need you for another 8 years, and then we'll send you back to the grain elevator, okay? That, I'm not sure I'm going to see 2030 in Washington, okay? I mean, let's not make plans that are way beyond that. Tonight, Lincoln Day dinner maybe a little different than the comments than what we thought about, than what I talked with Bob about a little over a week ago, about 10 days ago. I say that because, things happen and it's been an interesting week. I've been asked so many times, is being a congressman what you thought it would be? I did a couple of commencement speeches for some people, is Congress what you thought it would be? Being a new guy doing that, being in business 35 years, was a whole new experience. And you really don't know what anything's going to be until they drop you in the middle of it. Let's be honest about it. You may think you understand it, but until you get up every day and do it, until you see the ups and downs, you really don't know. And that difference was brought to me starkly this past week. You see, Sunday, I went into Washington, flew back to Washington early on Sunday because it was going to be a busy week. It was going to be a tough week. We were going to debate and vote on Micah's law to ban late-term abortions, anything beyond 20 weeks, to ban those elective abortions. I was going to be part of the floor debate on that, something I believe in greatly, deeply. We were going to debate and pass a budget. We were going to have work sessions on what tax reform would look like. It was a pretty packed week that we had scheduled, and I, being a member of leadership, I was elected to freshman up to leadership, started out the day early on days we fly in. And I was awake in the middle of the night, early Monday morning, to news alerts and text messages. You all know what about. Las Vegas. My middle son was going back from Zion, and he was thinking about stopping at that concert. And he was too tired. He went home. Thank God. He went home. But the day started, and I posted, my thoughts and prayers went with the families, those injured, people killed so tragically by an evil, heinous person. How many other people posted something like that? Most people agreed. But did you look at my Facebook page? The list of people attacking me for feeling sad, for expressing my prayers, for 58 people dying and almost 500 injured. Instantaneously, people politicized that event to make their arguments why we should take guns away. I had people post, we don't need a minister, we need a congressman. I have a newsflash, I am one. Meanwhile, we're debating on Monday, or Tuesday, Micah's law. Micah Pickering was born at 22 weeks. He was the size of an M&M wrapper when he was born. He's now a healthy, active, bouncing around kindergartner. He was in Washington a couple of weeks ago visiting everybody. We took action to ban elective late-term abortions. God knows every child has the right to be born. And members of the other party stood on the floor and said to me in the debate, well, you didn't protect, you'll take the rights of women away, but you didn't protect the children in Newtown. You didn't stop Orlando. You didn't do anything about Las Vegas, so what do you care? I say this because, and this is a different Lincoln Day dinner comments, because what's important is what helps in terms of the strength to deal with that are the comments I got from people during that week. Because our responsibility is to maintain our values, as Tom and Dan said, what we came there for, And to do that with a level of grace and dignity in the midst of people politicizing something that tragic. Does anybody in this room think we can pass a law to stop evil? When we adopted our youngest son 5 years ago in Russia, we were asked by the judge, because there's some children that came to the United States that had died. They were treated poorly. We were asked by the judge in Russia about how can she be sure that we weren't evil people. And my response to her was, you could do you pass all the laws, have all the regulations, fill out all the paperwork, have all the studies and home visits in the world. You can't stop evil. Evil's existed since the days of Adam and Eve. It'll exist long after we're gone. What we have to remember are the heroes, the people that do good deeds every day, the people that ran into fire to help other people out of the gunfire, the brave people that covered up other people to keep them from being shot, rather than let the negative people tear us down. My challenge to all of you is, you are part of what helps Dan and Tom and Shane and Pamela do the things they do, and me, because of the feedback of hang in there, know it's the right thing. Your activism is absolutely critical because you reflect what is America, the values of the majority of this country. And we cannot let the squeaky wheel, the Nancy Pelosi, the Maxine Waters on the floor of the House tell us what our values are. What they're espousing, I'm sorry, is immoral. But we cannot do that if you all are silent. We won elections. We stay because we want to serve. You need to help those people that are trying to do that. What did we accomplish? Last week, we passed Micah's Law and sent it to the Senate. The sad part is we only passed it barely, 218 votes. It's too bad. But we passed it. It's going to go to the Senate. You have 2 United States senators that I guarantee you aren't very thrilled about that. You all can fix that problem. You have a gentleman here, I absolutely guarantee you, would vote for Micah's Law. Any question about that, John?
Absolutely not.
I didn't think so. People say we control the Senate. We don't control the Senate with 52 votes. A lot of things you need most things you need 60 votes for. We could change one of those next year. And Debbie Stabenow has been around long enough representing this state poorly. We need a Republican United States Senator. To get that, we have to work. It's not just money. It's not just we have to work hard. We passed a budget. A couple of weeks ago, we passed 12 appropriation bills in the House. They haven't done that since 2004. Think about that. Since 2004. The House has passed 270 bills, 273, I think now, I have to get that are currently gathering moss in the United States Senate. So we're frustrated? You bet we're frustrated. Let's target our frustration on the source. And I know there are people that, I see it, are frustrated with Paul Ryan, are frustrated with, folks, we can't ram more stuff to the House and have it gather moss in the Senate. Drop a dime, send a letter, and make it clear that we expect the Senate to do something, or we're going to start replacing senators. I was on C-SPAN a week ago, taking calls. Oh, that's fun, by the way, when the conference scheduled me to go on C-SPAN, you take calls. Supposedly there's a Republican line, a Democrat line, an independent line. I had a couple of calls. I was pretty sure they weren't independents. I could be wrong, but it's an interesting event. But okay, well, I'll probably do it again soon. But the conversation was about why we don't get more done in the Senate. Why isn't Congress doing more? We can fix that. We have a responsibility to fix it if we stand for our values. So rather than give you the old, I'd say mamby-pamby Lincoln Day speech you can get from a congressman, I'm saying we have a job to do. We have a responsibility to do. I'll do mine. I plan to do mine in 2018. I plan to go back. And I plan to stay there as long as my wife will tolerate it. Well, I did clean the goat shed last week, so get them off the hook for a bit, okay? I expressed to people when I back to Congress after cleaning the goat shed, well, I shovel a lot over in the goat shed so I can take a week here. It plays well sometimes, sometimes not. One more comment I wanted to make, and I agree entirely with Tom. When he did our appropriations bills, we increased, and I can't remember the number, I wish I could, significantly funding for mental health services across the country as part of funding the Cures Act. There will be federal money for it because you're absolutely right. We talked about it today. Tom and I talked. Mental health is the issue in the United States. It's not a matter of taking guns. It's not a matter of writing more regulations. It's not a matter of passing laws. It's helping people that struggle with serious mental health. And if it's not a gun, it's a truck, it's a knife, and maybe fewer die, but deaths are deaths. So we'll put more money in mental health. The state needs to do what and I'm looking forward to what Tom's going to do. I have one last comment, and I'll stop because we can go dance. I'm not sure about the music, but I'm a little older for it, you know what I can tell you. I want to share with all of you my absolute and total commitment and endorsement of Tom Leiter to be our Attorney General. You heard Tom tonight. His values are clear. He stood for them. When the vote on the tax repeal was going on, the tax cut, I called him that night. Remember the conversation? Put it on the board, make people vote, put their money where their mouth is and live with it. It was the right thing to do. Tom will do the right thing even when it isn't comfortable some days, and that is what you need to elect, are people that would do the right thing even when it makes for bad editorials in the free press, you know, MLive, Lord knows, that they'll do that because that's the right thing to do. And it's okay. We can just take rotating editorials from the free press. You get one, I get one. It's okay. I can live with it. By the way, we don't answer their inquiries anymore. The free press calls, we ignore them. It's just easier than, you know. One other comment, I'll quit, which is I offended a crowd last presentation a while back when I referred to, they asked about the media, because frankly, let's be honest about it. Does anybody believe we get the straight story half the time? Trust me, you don't. I referred to CNN as a communist news network, and some lady in the crowd says, I'm offended. I said, good. They offend me too. So I appreciate everyone coming out and listening to me and maybe listening to my rant. But just because we won an election in 2016 doesn't mean we get to sit in our hands and watch what goes on. Because you support the people that you represent you decide who they are, and you need to be engaged. Otherwise, the loud naysayers, the negative people, rule the wavelengths, and it's really hard to get things done some days. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. I'm proud to represent the 10th District in St. Clair County, and let me know if you have questions in the future. Thank you.